Today we are going to discuss about variables and memory management in Python. So coming to the variable, what is variable in C language? First we will discuss. After that we will discuss about Java and Python variables also. And we are going to discuss about what is mutable and what is immutable of variables, and we are going to discuss about memory management for variables, and we are also going to discuss about id function of a variable, and if we have time we will discuss about is operator also. After that we will discuss about constants, variables and constants, right? So we will discuss about how to create constant also in Python. Okay, so coming to the topic, a variable can be seen as a container to store certain values. Simply to store data values we need a container. Okay, so that container is a variable. Suppose I have given a equal to 10. Okay, this 10 is data value. To store this data value I need a memory space, right? So to store this 10 in my memory, so I need some space. Okay, so in memory, I need some space to store some data value 10. So this a is that name given to this space. Okay, so a is now a container or a name given to data value. Okay, it's clear. A variable is a container which contains the data values. Okay, so we have to store the data value in the memory somewhere. So that somewhere place name is my a. Okay, it's clear. In next slide you will get little bit clarity. Okay, while the programs is running, variables are accessed and sometimes changed. That is, a new value will be assigned to a variable. So name itself saying that variable. What is vary? Vary means it change while assigning the values. We can assign new value while running also. Simply variable is a data value which can change while accessing. Okay, at runtime we call the value which you can change at the runtime of the program is called as variable, or a variable is a container to store content. Content means data value, or a variable is a name given to memory where we store data value. These many definitions we have for variable. Okay, hope it's clear about variable definition. Variable is a simple container which contain values, data values. And second thing is, a variable is a name given to the memory space in memory. Okay, so coming to the C language, first we will discuss about C language variables. After that we will discuss about Python variables. Why? Because I want to show the difference between C language variable and Python variable. Okay, coming to C language, when we declare a variable and assign the value to it, some space is created in memory by the given name and the given value is stored in this. So what I did is simply I have taken int a equal to 42. Okay, now some space for 42 is created. Okay, 42 is created stored in our memory, and for this address is 6000 as I have given here, and I have given name a. It's clear. Whenever I give int a is equal to 42, it is int, so 2 bytes of memory will be created in our memory, and for that some address will be there, 6000 address. At 6000 address a 2 bytes of memory will be given for the number 42. Okay, to access this I have an address. For that address I have given name A. Okay, for that object I have given name A. This is what happens when I create a variable in C language. Simply whenever I give int A is equal to 42, what happens? So 42 will be stored in some space in memory, and for that memory I will give the name A, and for that some address will be there like 6000. Okay, this is what will happen. If I want to access the value 42, I have to go through address 6000 with the variable name A. This is what happens when I give when I declare a variable in C language. Okay, we will see next case what happens. If I give second value, what happens? So here I have given int A equal to 42 and int B is equal to also 42. Then what happens in C language? 1 minute. In C language, for A, one space is created, and for B, another space is created. The address of A is 6000 and the address of B is 7000. It's very clear. I have two values. One is A equal to 42 and one is B equal to 42. Then I have to create two spaces in memory with 2 bytes and 2 bytes. Or if it is long int 4 bytes and 4 bytes, I have to create total 2 memory spaces with name A and name B, and the address of A is 6000. If I want to access the A value, I have to go to 6000 address, and if I want to access the B address, I want to go to I have to go to 7000 address. Okay, if I declare two variables in a C language, this will be the process of storing. It is very clear. So even though it having same value, addresses will be different. Why? Because name is given, variable name is given different, so it is showing different addresses and different memory locations. So hope you are clear with this example also. Next we will see. So in case 3, what happened? I have given A equal to 43. Initially it is A equal to 42, but it is a variable, so I can change the value at runtime. So I have given A equal to 43. It's okay. So now the 42 is replaced by 43 and the actual value is 42, is no problem. And now in the address of A 6000, the address of A is 6000. In that 6000 address of memory, the value is 43. Initially it is 42, but now I have changed, so it is 43. What is the value of B now? 42. So it is stored in 7000 address. The value of 7000 address will not be changed, and it is 42 only. Okay. So now finally we assign a new value to existing variable, then it is previous value gets overwritten. Whatever the value I have 42 is overwritten by 43. Why? Because for same address I am asking to store, so I have given same variable name, so it is overwriting 42 and done with 43 now. So now the value which is in 6000 address is 43. So previously it is 42, but I have overwritten now. Why? Because the latest value of A is 43. So it will be taken that space 6000 address and A value is 43 now, and 42 will be overwritten. Okay. This is what happens if you change the value of A. Suppose if I give B equal to 44 now, what happens? 42 will be overwritten and 44 will come. Now the address of 7000 will store the value 44 and 42 will be overwritten. So this is very clear about C language variables I am saying about. I am not saying about Python variables here. Okay. Next. So here coming to the Python variables, somewhat different from C language variables. So C language variables are static nature, but Python variables are dynamic nature. So both are not same. So we will discuss about Python variables now. So coming to the Python variables, these are different from C language variables. Suppose we write a equal to 42 in Python, then Python will create two things. Okay, one is an object in heap memory holding the value 42. Okay, second one is a reference called a, which will point to this object. So whenever I give a equal to 42 in Python, what happens? Two things will happen. First, it creates an object, okay, in heap memory which stores 42. So to store 42 number, 42 integer, it will create an object. Why? Because in Python everything is an object, and this is the first thing. It creates an object in heap memory to store the value 42. Second thing, it will create a reference. What is mean by a reference? A reference means address. So this 42 is stored in address 6000. Okay, so it will create a reference to this object which will point a. Okay, so a reference a which will point to the number 42. Okay, object ni point chese oka reference ni create chesam. The reference is 6000. And clear? So whenever I declare a variable in Python programming language a equal to 42, it will do two things. One, it will create an object with the storage area in heap memory which stores the 42 number, and it will create a reference link to a which points our actual number 42, and this reference link is 6000. What is address of a? So remember these two things. So in Python, whenever we create a variable, two things will happen. The one is it creates an object in heap memory holding the value 42, and the second thing, it will create a link. Link means a reference called a which point to object. So object ni point cheyadaniki oka reference ni it will create. So it's very simple. Whenever I declare a variable in Python, it will do two things. One is it will create an object and it will create a link reference. So object is to store 42 and reference is to point that value. Okay, that is a variable name. Next, so here what it will happen when I give a is equal to 42. So here remember that we no need to give int. So why we are not giving int means whenever you are discussing about data types, you must be learned. So meeku already data types completed and chepparu. In that class you might be learned that. So in Python we no need to declare int value. Sorry, we no need to declare class data type. Okay, why? Because it is in dynamic in nature. It will take okay inbuilt data types. Okay, directly. So a equal 42 I have given a equal to 42. So then what happens? It will create an object in heap memory with 42. Okay, and it will create a link to a. Okay, so this is address of an object 8000. In this 8000 address the 42 is stored. Okay, so I will say clearly. So whenever I give a equal to 42, what happens? It creates an object with heap memory which stores the value 42. So here this box is an object, 42 is a value which is stored in that object. and 8000 is address of that 42 object, and this will be linked with the variable name a. Okay, it's very clear. So what is variable name a? What is variable address 8000? What is the object value 42? It's clear. So a is called a reference or tag, and it holds the address of an object. So now a holds the address of 8000. So whenever I call a, it will directly go to address 8000, and whatever the value in the 8000 address, it will print that value. Whatever it is, 42 or 44, whatever 8000 address will store, that will be printed by that will be called by a value. Why? Because it is a link to address 8000. Okay, it is very clear. Hope. Next, here what happened? Now if we create another variable b and assign in the same value, then Python will do the following. So when a is equal to 42 I have given, okay, a equal to 42 I have given, and next I have given b is equal to 42, again same value I have given. So in C language what happens, for a it has given address 6000, for b it has given address 8000, and both are same values but different addresses. But in Python it will be different scenario. Why? Because we are considering value as an object. So it create a new object referenced by the name b, assign the address of the previously created object to the reference b because the value is same. So it will not create a new object now. Okay, actually whenever I give b equal to 42, okay, b equal to 42, what it has to do? It has to do two things. It has to create object and it has to create reference. But now what it will do? Already with the number 42, object is created whenever I assign a equal to 42. Now I am giving same value, so it won't create an object. It will create only a reference to that. And the address ఒకటే క్రియేట్ చేస్తుంది ఆబ్జెక్ట్ కి. It will not create again object. Why? Because with 42 object, okay, already created. Okay, so now both a and b are pointing to the same object. So now object is one but two different names. A is equal to 42 and b is equal to 42. What happens? So this is what happens. So what I am saying, so a is equal to 42, object is created in the address 8000 and the link is given to a. So now a is saying in 8000 address 42 number is stored. Now same again what I did, instead of creating an object again, okay, instead of creating an object again, why? Because both are same names, right? So instead of creating an object again, just I am giving this same link to the b also. Okay, then what happens? It will reduce the work of creating another object. Okay, it's clear and clear. If you give different number means you have to create different object for b, but same object with the number 42 already created. So I am just asking to create a link for b also. Why? Because 42 is already created with a link. I also need a link. Why? Because I am also having the same name. So please give me a reference to me. No need of creating an object for me. Why? Because 42 is already created. Just give me that link to me also whenever I am accessing the values. Okay, this is what happens internally in the Python. Hope I am doing well. మీకైతే అర్థమవుతుందని అనుకుంటున్నాను. So okay, it's clear. Whenever I declare same values with different variable names, what happens? It will create only one object and it will give two references to that objects. What next? How variables work in Python? We'll see. Finally, if we assign a new value to the a, then like see, Python will not overwrite the value. Suppose ఇప్పుడు నేను ఏం చేస్తాను, if I write a is equal to 43, previously the a value is 42, now a value is 43. In C language what happens, 42 is overwrite with 43, but in Python you should not do like that. Why? Because for that 42 object b also dependent, so if you change that 42, b will be affected, right? So to make that sure, to remove that problem, what will happen, I will tell. Create a new object, initialize it with new value, assign the address of newly created object to reference a. However, the reference b is still pointing to the same object. So what I am doing, so here 42 object is there, okay, 42 object is there, and for this address is 8000, okay, and reference is a, and also reference is b. Initially a equal 42 and a equal 4. Now I am saying a equal to 43. Okay, what happens, it will not overwrite this 42 with 43. Why? Because b will be affected. For that it will create another object with 43 value, and it will be 7000 address, okay, some address 7000, and it will point to a. Then only b is going to point to this 8000 address, a will be removed from this pointing. Okay, this is what happens if I change the value of a variable. It will create a new object with variable, and it shifts the reference to that new object. Okay, we'll see with the diagram. So what happens, simply whenever I give a equal to 43, so 43 will be stored in 9000 address with a new object, and the a will be shifted to this 9000 address. Now a will be pointed to this 8000 address. Now whenever I call a, it will go to 9000 address, not to 8000 address, previous address, that is. Okay, same b is pointed to that 8000 address only, so no problem with that. Okay, so we will discuss some points related to mutability and immutability. So what is mutability and what is immutability? This behavior of objects in Python is called immutability. So what behavior? In other words, when we cannot change the value of an object, we can say it is immutable, otherwise we say it mutable. If you are able to change the value of object, then it is called as mutable. If you cannot change the value of an object, then it is called as immutable. So previous example, a is equal to 42 is there, so you cannot overwrite this 42 and you cannot change this into 43. You have to create an object with 43, means you cannot change existing object value, you have to create a new object instead of that. So this nature of an object is called as immutability. You cannot change the value of an object in integer, float, boolean, string, complex, tuple data types. Whenever you are using integer, float, boolean, string, complex, tuple data types, you cannot change the value of an object. That nature is called as immutability. So where you can change them? So in list, in set, in dictionaries, you can change the value of an object. Then this nature is called as mutability. It's clear. So whenever I try to change the object value, if it is changing, means it is mutability. whenever I try to change the object value, it is not changing, means it is immutability. So this is very important interview question for you people. So what is the difference between mutability and immutability? So the mutability means you can change the value of an object. Immutability means you cannot change the value of an object. It's clear. So we'll see some examples related to this. So strings also immutable. So what I am saying, you cannot change the value which is in object. Okay, strings also. Strings objects in Python are also immutable. This is once we have created a string object, then we cannot override. Once we have given Ramesh for an object value, okay, I have created an object and I have given Ramesh to that object, then I cannot change it to Suresh. If you want to create if you want to change that Suresh value, what you have to do, you have to create an other object with the name Suresh, and you have to point the variable name to that object, but you cannot change the Ramesh object to the Suresh with the same reference. This is called as immutability of an object. Okay, although we can change the value of the string reference by assigning new string. So whatever I said, with the name Suresh, you have to create another string object and you have to point your variable name to that instead of previous one. But you cannot change the previous one directly, you cannot override the previous one directly. This is what happens in Python. But in C language you can do directly. Okay, in Python you cannot do. This is the difference between Python variables and C language variables. So like this. So for example, everyone open your Python shell. So Python open cheyandi, Python shell open cheyandi and write city Bhopal and try to print city Bhopal. Okay, next type city equal to Indore and print city. So what happens now? The variable city having two objects. First it is creating an object with Bhopal and it is in suppose 8000 address, I am saying that, and it is pointed to city, variable name is city. Now what happens, whenever I give city is equal to Indore, it will not override this Bhopal with Indore. What it will do, it will create another object with the name Indore. Okay, Indore, and it will be having some address 9000 and this city will point to this address now, and this link will be erased. Why? Because now city is showing only Indore. So it is pointing to Indore. Whenever I ask to print city, it will print now Indore. Why? Because the latest link will be given by Indore. Okay, so this is what happens with strings. So as I said in a previous slide, what are the immutable data types and what are the mutable data types? So coming to the immutable and mutable, following data types are immutable. What are that? Integer, float, boolean, string, tuple, complex, range, frozen set, byte. So remember this, frozen set is immutable, set is mutable. Okay, bytes are immutable, byte array is mutable. Don't ask me what is byte and byte array. Go to data types and see, already completed class. Okay, so what are the mutable data types then? So the mutable data types are, as I said in last slide, list, dictionary, set and byte array. These are the four mutable. Means you can change the value of an object here, but in immutable you cannot change the value of an object. So we will discuss examples of that in future classes, mutability and immutability. So everyone able to hear me? So here I have two Important discussions related to this while working with variables in Python. So the first question is, keeping in the mind the concept of immutability, two very common questions arise. What is the benefit of making objects immutable? So immutable mutable అనగానే మనకు ఒక డౌట్ వస్తుంది. సో ఇన్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ యూ కెన్ చేంజ్ ద వాల్యూ ఇన్ mutable. It is better, right? Why immutability is need for you? And the second question is, if we have a single reference and we create multiple objects, then wouldn't there be memory wastage? So మనం ఏం చేస్తున్నాం, for single reference we are creating multiple objects. As I said in previous examples, we go back once. So here, not here, here. So here what I am doing, for 8000 I am saying 42. Here for B, for 8000 for A also I am doing 42 here. So because of this, are we losing any memory or not? So we will discuss. So these are the two questions. What is the first question? Why we are making objects immutable? Change చేయడానికి వస్తే మంచిగా ఉంటుంది కదా. Why we are immuting? Okay. So change రాకుండా ఎందుకు చేస్తున్నాము, one thing. And second thing is, if we have a single reference and we create multiple objects with a single link, we are creating multiple objects. Because of that, memory wastage is there or not? Okay, these are the two common questions we will ask. So in interviews also they will ask these two questions only. So we are he will ask what is mutability and what is immutability. So you say what is mutability, you cannot change the object value, means it is immutability. If you change the object value in runtime, means it is mutability, you say. Then he will ask what is the purpose of immutability in Python. So ఎందుకు చేస్తున్నామని అడుగుతారు, అప్పుడు ఏం చెప్తారు. So benefit of immutability, you can see here, the main benefit of immutability is that it prevents unnecessary creation of new objects. Okay, so here I have given 42 here. Okay, A equal to B equal to also I have given 42, and both are linking to same address 8000. Okay, 8000 is the address of A as well as address of B. Now I have avoided creating another object for B. So instead of creating an object for B, I am linking to same address. That's why it is immutable. So then Python will not create two objects. So A equal to 42 and B equal to 42. So it will not create two objects for two variables. It will create only one object instead of creating new two objects. So then creating one unnecessary object will be reduced. So rather it only creates one object and makes both the references A, B refers to the same object. This saves memory and overhead of creating multiple objects. So creating multiple objects ni avoid chestundi, memory ni save chestundi, kabatti immutability is benefited here. Okay, next, what about single reference and multiple objects? So considering following three lines, so what I am saying, A equal to 10, A equal to 20, A equal to 30. First it will create A equal to 10, means it will create an object with value 10 with address 7000. Okay, and it will refer to variable name A. When the above lines will run, then Python will create three objects one by one. Finally the reference A will be referred to the latest value of 30. So next what happens, whenever I give A equal to 20, it will create 20 object. Now the address of 20 is 8000 and it will be linked to A, and the previous link will be erased. Why? Because the now value is A value is 20. And next it will create another object. Whenever I give A equal to 30, it will create object 30, and this address will be 9000. Okay, and it will be pointed to A. Okay, it will be pointed to A, and the previous link will be erased. Now the latest value, whenever I call A, it will print only the value 30. Why? Because 10 and 20 are not pointed to A now, only the value 30 is pointed now, the latest value whichever I give the last. Okay, it will be pointed. Then next question, my next question is, what happened to this 10 and 20? So 10 and 20 ఏమైపోయినాయి. Okay, so an obvious question is, what will happen to the previous two objects with the value 10 and 20? సో ఈ రెండు వాల్యూస్ ఏమైనా తెలియాలంటే నీకు ఇంకో కాన్సెప్ట్ తెలవాలి. దట్ కాన్సెప్ట్ ఈజ్ గార్బేజ్ కలెక్షన్. ఓకే, సో యూ షుడ్ నో garbage block, garbage collection and reference counter. 3 things in this. Okay, so very important for your technical interview. What is garbage collection, garbage block and reference count? For that you have to give this answer. I have given A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, A equal to 10 first, after that A is equal to 20, and lastly I have given A is equal to 30. Now if I ask to print A, what it will print? It will print 30. Then what happened to that previous numbers 10 and 20? It will be garbage collected. So what happens inside the Python for collecting that garbage values, we will discuss, and what is that garbage collection also we will discuss. So hope I am clear. సో 1 minute, ఇప్పటి వరకు నేను చెప్పింది మొత్తం మీకు అర్థమవుతుంది అని అనుకుంటున్నాను. సో ప్లీజ్, ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్, చార్ట్లో ఎస్ అని పెట్టండి. అట్లీస్ట్ కొంతమంది అన్న ఎస్ అని పెడితే ఐ కెన్ ఫార్వర్డ్. ఓకే, ప్లీజ్ ఎస్. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ. ఎనీవన్, ఓన్లీ 1 person. I am looking for more replies. Yes. So if I am not getting S means you are just in the class and concentrating on other things like TV చూస్తున్నారు, లేకపోతే వేరే పనులు చేసుకుంటున్నారు క్లాస్ ఆన్ చేసి అని మీన్స్. ఓకే, hope I am getting now so many replies means you are active in the class. So at the any point of the time I will take an attendance, so be active. సో అటెండెన్స్ని ఎప్పుడైనా తీసుకుంటాను బై ద ఎండ్ ఆఫ్ ద క్లాస్ ఏ టైం వరకు అమ్మా? 11:30, రైట్? బిఫోర్ దట్ 11:30 ఐ విల్ టేక్ ద అటెండెన్స్. సో ఓకే, ఎవ్రీ వన్ సేయింగ్ ఎస్ అర్థమవుతుంది. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ. సో వీ విల్ సీ వాట్ హ్యాపెన్ టు దట్ 2 values, previous values, which is 10 and 20. Previous values 10 and 20. So we will see what happened to that 10 and 20. For that we have to discuss 3 things. What are that 3 things? మనకు ఇంత ముందున్న వాల్యూ ఏమైంది? సో ఇంతకు ముందు కూడా మనం ఏం చేసినాం? A is equal to 42 ఇచ్చినాం. నెక్స్ట్ A equal to 43 ఇచ్చినప్పుడు 43ని ప్రింట్ చేసింది. ఈ 42 ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఏమైంది నాకు కావాలి. సో ఫర్ దట్ ఐ హ్యావ్ టు డిస్కస్ గార్బేజ్ బ్లాక్, గార్బేజ్ కలెక్షన్ అండ్ రిఫరెన్స్ కౌంటింగ్. I have to know. So I want to know now what happened to the 2 values which are the A is equal to 10 and A is equal to 20. So in C language we don't have the topic called garbage collection, but in Python we have, in Java also we have garbage collection. So what is garbage block? So garbage block in Python, if an object is not being referred by any reference, then such objects are called garbage blocks. So what I said, I have created A is equal to 10, okay, and this is to A with 7000 address. Okay, next A became 20, okay, with 8000 address, and this A is pointing to 20, and next it will be reference is closed here, and next A is equal to, whenever I give 30, okay, with address 9000, okay, next A will be pointed to this 30 latestly, and this will be removed. Now these two are called as, so these two objects don't have any reference, okay, these two objects are being without reference. These two are called garbage blocks. Okay, very important for you in technical interview. What is garbage block? I have created a variable A is equal to 10 declared, and A equal to 20 and A equal to 30. Then if I ask to print A value, it will print 30. The previous two values are not having any reference to A, so the two values are called as garbage blocks. Okay, it's very clear. Next, here what happens? I have given A is equal to 42, and next A is equal to 43. If I give A equal to 42, what will happen? It will create an object linked with A address. Okay, and if I give A is equal to 43, it will create another object, and A will be shifted to that object, and this 42 is not having any references, any reference links, so any reference is not pointing to the 42 object. Then this 42 object is called as garbage block. Why? Because the reference is now pointing to new object 43. It doesn't have any link with 42, so 42 is now without any reference, so it is called as the garbage block. Okay, next, what is garbage collection? So garbage bulk means previous values without any reference is called as garbage block. Next, garbage collection is the process of cleaning the computer memory which was used by running program when that program no longer needs that memory. So what is mean by that? Whenever I have garbage blocks, cleaning that garbage blocks is called as garbage collection. Simply, garbage collection is a memory management feature in many programming languages, not only in Python, it has in C++ also, we have in Java also, in Ruby also, R programming also. Garbage collection is very important for memory management. It manages waste of memory. Okay, so whenever I create A equal to 10, A equal to 20, A equal to 30, so it points to A equal to 30 finally, and the 20 and 10 are stored somewhere. I am cleaning that 10 and 20 which are not having any reference to any variable name. This process is called as garbage collection, and for that garbage collection we call memory management. So in many programming languages it has, except in C language it won't be there. In C++, Java, Python, Ruby, or language like this we have garbage collection. Okay, next, so reference counting, very important. So what is mean by reference counting? The process of memory management in Python is straightforward. Python handles its object by keeping a count of the number of references each object has in the program. Okay, in simple word, each object stores how many references are currently referring it. So I will give an example for reference counting clearly, then you can understand. Here the count is updated with the program runtime, and when it reaches 0, this means it is not reachable from the program anymore. So if the reference count is 0, then it is not in our program. You can clean that to garbage collection. Hence the memory for this object can be reclaimed, can be freed by the interpreter. So I will say, so example చెప్తే మీకు ఇంకా క్లియర్ గా అర్థమవుతుంది. డోంట్ వరీ. I'll see example. So here what happened? So I have given a is equal to 10. Now 10 object is created. So 10 object created and it having address 7000. Okay, see careful ma. And I have given pointed with a. With this 10, how many reference points are there? Only one. Then it is reference count is 1. It is pointing to 1. Now I have given b is equal to also 10. Then what happens for same 10 object, same 7000 address, I have given b reference also. Now b is also 10, so reference count is 2. Now for 10 object, how many reference counts are there? 2 reference counts are there. Next, what I have done, a is equal to 20. Next, for a is equal to 20, it will create an object with the name 20. Okay, and address will be 8000, and this a reference will be gone here. Okay, and it will be pointed to this now. Why? Because latest a number is 20. Now what happens? B is equal to also 20. Now it will point to 20 object point to B also. Okay, now what is the reference count of this 10? B is pointed to 8000 now. Then now there is no reference points for 10, so it is waste of memory. So we are going to free this memory by garbage collection. So there is no reference count, means reference count is 0, so you can remove. It is not in our program now. So now 20 have b is equal to 20 have 2 reference counts. What is one is a and one is b. It's clear. So now object 10 is having no reference counts, so it will be cleaned by garbage collection. So this is what happens with the reference counting. It's very clear, hope. Next, as soon as the reference count 10 becomes 0, Python automatically removes the object 10 from memory. So free cheyadaniki, memory free cheyadaniki, fast ga run cheyadaniki, we are doing this. Now what happens in second example? We see a is equal to 10, a equal to 20, a equal to 30 I have given. What happens first? It will create object 10 with 7000 address. Okay, and pointing to a. Next, what happens? Whenever I give a is equal to 20, it will create object 20 with address, some address 6000, I am saying that. Okay, and it will point to a and it will be removed. Okay, why? Because now a is pointing to 20, not to 10. Okay, it is removed. Now in third statement, what I did, I have given a is equal to 30 with some address 8000, and this a is pointing to this 30, so it is not at all pointing to 20. Now these two are having reference count 0. There is no references for this 10 and this 20. Okay, so but this 10 is occupying 2 bytes of memory, sorry, 4 bytes of memory in Python, and this 20 also occupying 4 bytes of memory in our memory. So to free up this space, what I am doing, so the objects 10 and 20 will be reclaimed by the Python garbage collector as soon as the reference count became 0. Here reference count became 0, so garbage collector comes and reclaims this memory. This 8 bytes of memory is wasting, so I want to remove these two reference count 0 objects, and I want to make that 8 bytes of memory free to run Python fast compiler. Okay, it's clear. Next, advantage. What is the advantage of reference counting? So here I said about reference counting clearly. So then what is the advantage of having that reference counting? We will see. Okay, we will see the advantage of reference counting. So the main advantage of such approach is that unused memory is reclaimed and made available for use again. So whatever the unused memory, the previous values are unused and reference count is 0, no object, no variable is referring that object, so we can remove that objects and make memory free. Next, we have one disadvantage also, that is the drawback is that Python has to continuously watch the reference count of objects in the background and free them as soon as the reference count begins. Means always reference count check chestane undali. That will be a drawback. So this is another important reason why Python is slow as compared to C. So compared to C, Python is somewhat slow. Okay, why? Because I mean compile time, only I am talking about compile time. So why? Because every time it has to check reference count and make free memory. So kabatti it is somewhat slow compared to other languages. Okay, only compile time I am saying slow, not others. Not, I am not talking about performance, all these things, only compile time I am saying. Okay, next, another important question I have in this, I have given A is equal to 42 and B is equal to 42. Can you tell how many objects has Python created in the above code? So we have two variables but with the same name. So answer is only one object is created with the value 42 and with address 6000 I am saying. Okay, and it is pointing to A as well as B also. Okay, so okay, I am saying, but what is the proof? So proof enti ani adugutunna. So I am saying that what is the proof that it is only created one address 6000 address lone 42 of A anedi 42 of B anedi undani, how can I prove అని చెప్తున్నాను. So simply I go to Python. So everyone see here, Python I am opening. Okay, and here you can see I have given A equal to 20 S and B is equal to 20, and I am asking to print A, it is printing 20, and I am asking to print B, it is printing B. So it's okay, it is not my question. I am asking that A and B are stored in same place or not, same address or not. So A ante A 20 print avutundi, B ante B 20 print avutundi, adi kaadu naaku kavalsindi. What I need is that A is equal to 20 and B is equal to 20 are stored in same address or not. I need that one. For that, what I am doing? So for that I am doing this. So I am doing I am using the function id. So by using the function id I can check the both operators, sorry, the both operands are stored in same place or not. We will see. So go to Python and ask with function id. Sorry. Okay, print id of A. What is mean by id? Identity of A means address of A. Okay, 1 minute, I will see. Print spelling tappu. So print print, right? Print id of A. It is showing id of A is this one. So if I ask to print identity means the address. I'm asking to print id of b also here. So id of b, and I'm asking to print. You can see it has given same address for a, and it has given same address for b. By seeing this you can confirm that okay, a is stored in this address, in same address b also stored. So for a equal to 20 and for b equal to 20, it is not creating two different places, two different objects and two different links. It is giving only one reference to a and b variables. Object is same value 20. Okay, this is what I did with the proof. Next, so by using id you can track that thing. So id is a built-in function in Python 3 which returns the identity of an object. Identity means address of an object in memory. Okay, the identity is a unique integer for that object during its lifetime. సో డ్యూరింగ్ ఇట్స్ లైఫ్ టైం 20 అంటే దాని అడ్రస్ ఏముంటుంది, ఇందాక నేను చూపించినాను కదా, దట్ అడ్రస్ ఓన్లీ. దిస్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో ద అడ్రస్ ఆఫ్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఇన్ మెమోరీ. సో వాట్ ఎవర్ ఐ గేవ్, దట్ ఈస్ ద అడ్రస్ ఆఫ్ ద 20 ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఇన్ మెమోరీ. సో దిస్ ఈస్ వాట్ అబౌట్ వేరియబుల్స్ ఇన్ పైథాన్. ఓకే, హోప్ ఐఎమ్ క్లియర్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ వేరియబుల్స్ గురించి and how they stored, how they have freed up everything. I am done.